I can hear the purple calling. I can hear the Perkins calling. I can hear the purple calling. I can hear the Xanax calling.
Yo, 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 yo. What up, 2025? What's going on, Live in 5 faithful? I am Jay Swish, reporting live from the beautiful desert here in Scottsdale, Arizona. That is North Scottsdale, to be specific, folks. I am on the call solo today. Azo is on a yacht cruise down in the Caribbean. It's not a boat, Reese. It's a yacht. So anyone that's seen Starsky and Hutch, you know the yacht scene. Azo hanging out with his lovely down there on, I believe, a Freddie couples trip. So Jay Swish flying solo. Hans Solo. Hope Solo, if you will, today. And it is the 69th edition of Live in 5. So gonna listen to me rant today, gonna listen to me talk, whatever the hell we get into, but it's good to be back. I wanted to get an episode out for the people today because you know what? It's been a couple weeks. The boys at Live in 5, we took the old Hanukkah into Christmas, into New Year's. We took that all off. You know what? We didn't miss 68 straight weeks, which was pretty incredible. We've missed the last, I don't know, 1.5. So we apologize for not being there for the people when they needed us most. But we are back. Well, Jay Swish is back. And Azo, he will be back shortly. So today on Live in 5, it's just going to be my solo granite chin. And we'll get into a few different things. But before we get started, we are always brought to you by Mini Movers. Mini Movers is the official moving company of Live in 5. And the funny thing is I wanted to tell Azo this, and I actually haven't sent him the picture yet, but my good mother, Lisa, was driving in Chicago this week, and she saw out of the corner of her eye a beautiful Mini Movers moving truck. So I wonder who that was. I wonder if they were moving them from the North Loop in Minneapolis down to River North, or they are going somewhere like on the outskirts of Dinkytown, and now they got a corporate job somewhere in Chirac. So Chicago was awesome. We were there for 4 or 5 days, had a live show. It was good to see everyone's chins. It was hockey night in Scottsdale. We went to the Barn Hockey Bar, a great little venue on the corner of Ogden and Madison Street. It's literally right by the UC. So anyone in and around the greater Chicago area, go into a Hawks game or even a Bulls game. Go check that bar out. Spence, the owner there, is an absolute beauty. He's a guy that worked in the Chicago Blackhawks organization for a long time and now owns a bar just east of West Madison, the old Madhouse on Madison. So great bar, cool spot. I went in the shitter, the old pisser, take a piss, you know. And who did I see? I saw a picture of Nick Schmaltz right next to Ryan Hartman, who we had on the show, and Vinny Hinestroza, those guys who used to run around Chicago in the early days of on their entry-level contracts, and who knows what they got up to. I mean, they were hosting beer pong tournaments. They were out at places like Kincaid's on the DePaul campus, Boss Bar, Underground, Stout. Those guys were a fucking rat pack in the day. So it was cool to see them literally all lined up across the top of the, I don't know, wall in the shitter. So I went to take a piss, wash my hands, which is crazy. Most dudes don't. After touching your wrench, it's crazy. Then they just go shake up with a guy like it's no big deal. It's like, oh, yeah. How you doing? Good to see you. Well, dude, you literally just had your hand on your cock and you got a little pee residue on your fingertips. And now I just shook up with you, and then I just touched my face, and there's a reason why I am sick now, because I literally have chlamydia on my face from you touching your wrench. But anyways, we will get into it. This is always brought to you by Butter Golf. Butter Golf, the official lifestyle and apparel brand of Live in 5. If this fucking asshole ever gets me my shit in terms of sweatshirts, joggers, performance tees, polos, I want to get it out to the people, but right now it's just like pulling fucking teeth. So hopefully we can get into that. Hopefully we can get that out and we won't have to get into that. But yeah, this guy's a complete dickhead. So one day when I finally get my stuff, I'm going to fucking bury him. But right now I'm going to hold, well, somewhat sane and just hope for the best, because I do think I will get it eventually. But this has been a 16-month project and it's fucking pissing me off because, number one, I need to get it out to the people. And number two, this guy's just holding me hostage. This guy should be in fucking jail. But anyways, Christmas, folks. You know what? Where did you celebrate? Where were you at? I know I'm talking to myself right now, but I was in the chin of Salt Lake City. That is Soak City, Utah. You can't fuck there unless you're married. So you just soak. So you get inside the glove or inside the mitt, and you have your cousin, your buddy, your dog, a distant relative shake the bed for you. Or if you do have that feature on a sleep number bed, you can kind of just go up and down, and it's like a rocking chair, but you just got to sit there and you can't pump. So Soak City, Utah, always as advertised. Went to 3 games, I believe, of Nick Schmaltz. So in the Utah Hockey Club, they're always fun. Had a great chat with Ryan Smith after the last game there. They played the Colorado Avalanche. Smitty was actually on the hill in Deer Valley. He sent me out a tweet, asked me if that was me wearing a Nick Schmaltz jersey. No, I don't wear my younger brother's jerseys, but Smitty, anytime owners are reaching out to the People's Insider, that's always a good feel. But yeah, Utah was good, folks. I mean, listen, it's always quality time to spend with loved ones, your family. I love when you're under one roof, especially. So we rented out a decent sized hotel room and kind of just was able to hang out with the whole crew. I love that. I think it's always big, and it just reminds you of the old times of, all being under one roof, all hanging out, chopping it up, whether you're drinking, you're just hanging out, you're on the ski hill. We got a couple good ski days there in terms of in Deer Valley. Skied Deer Valley years ago, but it's been a bit since I've been on the hill there. It's a little bit of a short porch. So at the top of the mountain in Deer Valley, it's 8,200 feet, which is pretty steep, all things considered, or a higher elevation, if you will. But the lifts only go up to about 9,400 feet. So it's a short porch. You're not skiing long runs as you will, maybe if you're in, I guess I'm here in Telluride has really long runs. I'm going to go there in a month or so, as well as Steep and Deep Jackson Hole, which does have just a dear place in my heart, near and dear place in my heart, because that is, I think, the hardest mountain on this side of the pond in terms of the Rockies. So Jackson Hole, $1 Million Cowboy, Silver Dollar, all those fucking just good people of Jackson. And then their mountain. That place fucks. I just think Deer Valley just doesn't have a ton of hair on it. You know what I mean? Like, I like a clean glove. Listen, we all like women that shave, but a lot of the times when you're on a mountain, you need a little hair on it. You need a little hair on that chest, because it can always humble you, and you can go down swinging, or you can go down with various different injuries. But I do think that you need a little hair on that mountain. You need some moguls. You need some bite. You need some things that might scare you a little bit. So I'm hearing Snowbird and Alta might be the play. I skied Perk City, Utah earlier in the month in December, and then I went over to Deer Valley and skied that. But in terms of my Utah skiing, I think I'm going to have to branch out. I think I'm going Snowbird next time, and I'm hearing that's pretty steep. That's pretty good. So if anyone knows the greater Utah area, Soak City, in and around the Rockies, right around Chin Lake, well, get at me. Get at my DMs. I'm open like 7-Eleven, baby, and I will take calls, flyers, and everything. But I took my ski game to another level and invested in a pair of boots. That was my Christmas present for my good folks who always take care of us. So that was cool. I got a pair of blue Solomons, the old salmon blue, juicy, stiff, 130 flex, like a Zendano Char Synergy back in the day. Feels really good. Feels crispy rice. So those are good. I ran into Hank Haney while I was getting my boots fitted, folks. And Hank Haney, as you know, was Tiger's swing coach. That's Eldrick Woods, if you're going by his former name or his formal name. And he was chopping it up with me. We were talking about just various different things in golf and hockey. He has a kid that is 11 years old. So Hank Haney is 69. So do the math there. Hank Haney still fucking. Well, good to see him, maybe on the Blue Diamonds or Cialis or whatever he needs to get a Ken Stiffy Jr. down there. But Hank Haney was cool, man. We chopped it up. He actually told me he was going to come to my live show, but I think he bailed. His kid plays in Chicago now. He's playing for this team called the Reapers. I don't know if they're as good as the Mission where I played, but yeah, it was cool to kind of pick his chin about different things with Tiger Woods. And, we didn't get into the details of wheeling Perkins waitresses. And, the next thing you know, you got the tremendous 12 and you walk out with 12 waitresses and they're all bent over for you on a twister board late night outside of Augusta. But we did get into just different things of how Tiger prepped and how Tiger, treated every range session like it was a major championship. It was really cool to talk to him and was kind of funny that he said that of all the years that Tiger Woods and him worked together, Tiger Woods only paid him $50,000 a year. So, I mean, not a terrible salary, but it's just funny because he said I'd go work an event for Avis rental car, and they would basically be like, you know what, here's 40 grand for the day. So he'd make sometimes potentially as much as Tiger was paying him in one day with corporate America doing an outing, giving a couple swing lessons as he would for the whole season with Tiger. But at the same time, he said the exposure clearly, obviously, was worth it. Everyone knew he was Tiger's swing coach. So Tiger probably knew that. And he was like, you know what, I'm just going to cheap out because this guy is going to be getting, kickbacks for the rest of his life. I mean, right now, I think he said he has 15 students, quote unquote. And I think it's about $15,000 a day. So Haney is doing okay. And he was telling me about pickleball. And now listen, we've had tons of pickleball talk, not only on here, but Hockey Night in Scottsdale. I think pickleball is a game for senior citizens, non-athletic, regular people, aka NARPs, and just general population that aren't as gifted or skilled enough or in shape enough to play tennis. And that's where I stand. But we had a good debate on this, a healthy debate of he was trying to tell me that pickleball one-on-one is actually requires more movement than tennis. And I have a hard time believing that. But he did say that, like, I think he played 6 best of 3s one day in a tournament, and he was beating guys like all my age, which is crazy. Like, the guy is still in good shape. I don't know if he's on the deer antler spray. I don't know if he's on HGH peptides. I don't know what Hank Haney's getting shot up his butt to remain in that good of shape to beat 30-year-olds. But he was saying he played 6 best of 3 matches, and he ran like 18 miles that day. So I'm not sure if, what that equates to in terms of a tennis match. I think they would probably be playing like 2 best of 5s all that time on the floor. But yeah, I might have to give pickleball, aka pickle dick, as I call it, another look. Now, pickle dick, I still just hate the sound of it. I hate the paddles. I hate the whack fest. I hate the 2-on-2 when you're in the kitchen, you just slap it over the net and then you can't touch it until it hits the kitchen. And then you go, my kitchen, your kitchen, my kitchen, bang. And then you just fire one right at my nose or I hit your chin, and that's my point. Slap dick, pickle dick. It's just a game that I just find that if you're going to go play, like, you got to walk on the floor with a Brett Favre copper fit on, a couple knee braces, and that's why you play pickle dick, is because you just sit there right outside the kitchen with your buddy who also is equally out of shape, has diabetes, maybe had a jammer, and you guys sit there and you call this exercise. It's not exercise. It's a leisure sport. So lousy. It's pickle dick. But I'll get off my pickle dick rant and let's get into Chicago. Now, Chicago is a city I spent a ton of time in as a youth, from ages 10 to 16, maybe 9 to 16. And then, you know what? I went back there, and that's where I started my pro career. I started playing for the Chicago Wolves. That was St. Louis's jungle team back in the day. And Chicago has always had a near and dear spot in my heart. I love that place. I love going out. River North, yes, you might get stabbed there these days, but you know what? The West Loop, they equally built that up to a place where you want to be. Shout out to the Texan. Shout out to Cheval. Shout out to Bar Sienna, the OG of Randolph Street. There's so many different places in the West Loop to hit up, and I love it. And that's exactly where I was this weekend. Now, I touched on the live show. We had a live show on December the 30th. A professional night of all professional night. I mean, if we're talking the biggest amateur night of the year is the 31st, where everyone's out. The 30th is equally as much the biggest professional night of the entire year. Because if you're boozing on the 30th, you either, 1, have a slight issue, 2, you've been bending since at least Christmas, probably Thanksgiving, or, you know what, I'm going to get shit-faced on a Monday because I don't have work until next week. And I think that was kind of everything that came together for us. I mean, we had 200 people there. Sold out venue. It was unbelievable. Patty Maroon stopped by the day before his game, drinking some beers with the fellas, drinking some Molsons, and the crowd, the energy was unmatched. It wasn't as crazy, I would say, as Toronto, where I got a beer thrown at me. Now, listen, it was a can that was crushed up, but still, people were throwing shit on stage like it was fucking Wolf of Wall Street. That was insane. I mean, I think that we had equally as much people on cocaine and Molly and this ketamine drug people are doing now. People are calling this ketamine shit with coke. They call it C and K. They call it Calvin Klein. So all these kids are walking up to me. They're like, Swish, you want a Calvin Klein line? I'm like, no, fella. I don't snow. My key is hung up. It never was out. and I don't do ketamine. So, no, I don't want what is in that bag. And who knows what's in that bag? It was crazy the amount of kids just all hopped up on cocaine. It's crazy, like cocaine these days is basically just a prerequisite. It's like, it used to be a beer and a shot you'd get at the bar. Now it's a beer and a bump. It's like, at what point do they start selling this stuff over the counter? Because the amount of kids doing Colombian Bam Bam is actually insane. And the thing with the snow is it's not safe anymore. They put shit in it. They put fentanyl in it. It's been killing people for years because of what the cartel has mixed in with the white powder. And listen, I'm not telling you what to snort, who to fuck, and what to drink, but don't be messing with the coke. I mean, put it down as the people's over here. I know this isn't a life motivational podcast by any means, and I'm not perfect either. But do yourself a favor and just put the white down because you never know what's in that shit. You start snowing, you get that yearly ski pass, and all it takes is one bad bump, fellas. So, yeah, that was crazy to see. Everyone hopped up on cocaine. I mean, the Q&A was unbelievable. We had one kid come up to the stage and basically ask for advice how to bang the president of his company. And what I told him as a good veteran was, okay, you don't want to be texting her creepy things. You don't want to be texting her outside of the group chat. You don't want to be texting her anything about the current portfolio or the, just whatever you're working on in terms of a TPS report, as they call it in office space. Like, you don't want to be texting her about different things randomly, especially when you're shit-faced, because that can get awkward. And that can get to a point where you actually end up losing your job, in which I told him. But the funny thing is as a veteran that knows a thing or two, is you get in these corporate happy hour kind of work things, right? I've never been in one. I've been jealous because, again, if I wanted to bang my president, this is how I'd want it to go. So I'll let you hear it. I think that in order for this to happen, okay, it's got to be a complete numbers game. And I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not an analytical guy. I'm a boots on the ground. Let me get a feel. Let me get the mojo. Let me get the vibe of the situation. But I'm thinking in a perfect world that's not so perfect out there, this is how it goes. You go to a corporate happy hour work shift, usually around the holidays. Maybe it's scheduled around March Madness. It's always around some event, a Super Bowl, whatever it is. So you go to work and, you say hi, you're friendly, you're cordial, and you're not doing anything crazy. You're not getting over horny, because over horny could get you fired, which we'll get into later. But say that work happy hour group starts at 12 people, that is, a dozen, and it's at the first spot. And then maybe, a few more want to go to a different spot, and it drops to 8. Now you got to entertain her to the point of she wants to keep going with wherever the crowd is going, because the president initially is going to think, I got to be professional. I got to leave. I got to go home. Maybe I have a husband. Maybe I'm single, but I can't get too shit-faced in front of my coworkers, especially those that are working below me, because I got to keep this stern, straight face and be professional. I got to separate church from state. But you got to entertain her to the point where she's now considering going to that next spot. So if it starts at one spot for happy hour drinks, you're drinking margaritas that are skinny, and then you're going to the next spot where maybe the Moscow mules start coming out. So that crew shrinks from 12 to 8. Now that 8-pack is maybe getting a little bit hungry. Now you still got to keep her entertained to the point where she's now hungry. She wants to be around just the other people in the company, and she's generally interested in your presence. That is on you. That is, as a floor general, as a point guard of the situation, the quarterback running the show, you got to make sure that she's interested again. So that crew now shrinks from 8 to 4. Now 8 to 4, that gets cut in half really quickly. So once you get to 4, okay, well, really the next spot, or someone's going to leave early out of that 4. Now you're down to 3. And then once she maybe goes to the bathroom, you tell your buddy, all right, buddy, I got you. You Venmo me $16.48 for that old fashioned you had. You get the hell out of here. Take your skank hooker wife and get the hell out of here. And now it's one-on-one. And she doesn't even know it's one-on-one until she gets back to the table. And it's fuck, fight, or hold a light. This is your time to shine. This is, okay, are we getting an Uber Comfort that somehow is a Chevy Malibu out of here? Or are you going home and we are going our separate ways? Now, listen, the chances of you going both back to your place are probably not great. She doesn't want to get whacked in your studio apartment. But you know what? Maybe, just maybe, she'll invite you back to her place in Lincoln Park in Chicago, where she's more a little bit more established. Yes, she does have a 2-bed, 2.5 bath. Yes, she has different things. Yes, her pantry is full of different snack items that are healthy. Yes, she is freshly divorced. And maybe, just maybe, you might get a night. Oh my God, is that your den and your office? Jesus, this is over 2,000 square feet. I can fuck you anywhere in here. My God, your mind starts spinning. But again, the thing is with this is you can't try to win the game in the first shift or the first period, let alone. You have to let the game come to you a little bit. This is a dangerous flirting with dynamite or flirting with, I don't even, just flirting with fucking death of your job over maybe tucking your president who under the lights in the office building, peeking over a cubicle, seeing her in their office, and you sitting there trying not to get wood. You know what I mean? Like she looks a lot better in that office than you really think when you get her around different people. Like she's an 8 in the office, of course. She's got the river view, Lake Michigan to the left, the river to the right. She's got a massive office with just these comfy chairs that she bought from Office Max and a big whiteboard to just draw random shit on and 3 or 4 monitors. And it's crazy what she's got in there. She's not a golfer, but somehow a guy that works slightly under her, the VP, likes to putt when he goes in there. And you want a night putt with her. So just tread carefully, folks, is what I'm telling you when you're getting into a situation like that. Anyways, let's get into the Winter Classic a little bit. Chance the Rapper. My God, if one more label going to stop me, there going to be some in the lobby. You don't want no problem with me. Wow. You know what? Whatever the NHL gave him, it was too much because that performance was not perfect. But I did run into Chance a little bit later that day, and he walked into a place in the West Loop called Au Cheval. And Au Cheval is a great little pocket. It's the best burger in the city when they are on. It's on the corner of Randolph and Halstead. So if you're ever in Chicago and you're prepared to wait about 2 hours for a burger, I'm telling you right now, the vibe is immaculate. The drinks are crispy and the burger is literally to die for. So go in there. But yeah, I literally lifted my chin and I was waiting kind of in the entryway and I lifted my chin. And who was it? It was Chance the fucking Rapper with his jersey still on from the Winter Classic. He was with a different skunk. I don't know if he's married, whoever it was, but his gal's jersey actually said on the back of the girlfriend. So she's Chance the girlfriend and he's Chance the Rapper. I didn't see him walk out though, so he must have went out the back door, a little in through the outdoor. But this game, I mean, if we're getting into it, Connor Bedard, like, did he even try in that game? I know he said the little quote afterwards where they felt disappointed or ashamed because of the Hawks and their fans spent their own dough to get there. Like, come on. Like, that effort was absolutely putrid. The way he went on the ice and just floated around, I know he had that second assist, but it was the most Bedard assist. And I just don't want to be too hard on a 19-year-old, but you know what? Right now it's not perfect in Chicago. And, you know, even just talking with Patty Maroon the day leading up to our show and kind of just after the game and different things is, you know, they're in the slumps right now in Chicago. And I just hope a guy that I played for, an Anders Sorensen for the Chicago Mission back in the day, can turn that thing around because I do think he is a great coach. I do think that Anders is National League. He's cut from that same cloth of John Cooper, some of these Jim Montgomerys. He's got that swag. He's got that moxie. He knows how to teach. He also, at the same time, knows how to be stern and when to hold these guys accountable. So I do hope that they turn it around enough for Anders to keep his job in Chicago because that is the man for the job. And that is a guy that has been around the Chicago area for years, for 2 decades, and a guy that deserves, you know what, to be at the helm of getting the Madhouse back to where it needs to be because that logo is so crispy. It's so juicy. But the whole theme of the fucking day was the Hawks. Like, what did they walk in with? You know what I mean? Like, they walked in with their skates and their stick over their head like they were walking into an ODR game or on the pond back in the day. And it just looked depressing. I mean, the organ players were hung. everyone in the line of people just looked miserable. It just looked like, they were setting the stage for a rainy, gray day in Chicago to go get whacked by their big brothers to the south. And that's exactly what the St. Louis Blues did. Now, the St. Louis Blues were supposed to wear the Steve Bartman costumes. And what I later learned was Patty Maroon said that Chicago was considering doing the Bartman costumes as well. Imagine there was 60 Steve Bartmans walking in to Wrigley Field for that Winter Classic. Now, Steve, I don't know if he's still in solitary confinement. I don't know if he's still tugging his wrench and not taking calls in his mom's basement. I don't know where Steve is. It's been 20 odd years since the famous incident with Moises Alou. But yeah, that would have been hilarious. And that is exactly what the NHL needs instead of, these dog shit, I don't know, costumes or uniforms they walked in. I mean, St. Louis was in a full on panic. They walked in with Gretzky's basement Gitch, which is just a tire or just laundry service. Like, it was just, the whole look for both sides wasn't great. The game, obviously, there's been 235 Winter Classics at this point, and they're just getting a little redundant and a little repetitive, and they've lost the steam for me. I'm just not a big Winter Classic guy. Even, that game on the 31st, there was still like 10 other NHL games that day. It wasn't the sole focus like it usually is on New Year's Day. And I know, and I get that it's a gate-driven event. And Gary Bruce Bettman has made that very clear over the years that this is literally just for the people in attendance, not so much TV. It doesn't look great on TV. It doesn't look great when you're at the venue. I had tickets to the game. Ultimately, I didn't want to go sit out in the pissing rain and watch just a putrid performance by both sides. St. Louis played okay, but at the same time, it's just like, when are we going to change these things up? And when can we get to a point where, maybe we're doing something similar to the Lake Tahoe event? I know the Lake Tahoe event got a lot of flack, Joe Flacco, in terms of, just different things. The ice wasn't great. The seating, it was during COVID, so there wasn't a ton of people that could attend the game, even if, you were able to attend the game at the time. I just think these situations where you can kind of, create this scenario of actually playing outside, make it an outdoor venue that's nasty and fun to be in. And whether there's, not as many people in it, but it looks dope and cool on TV, like a Lake Louise when you're skating on that green ice, or, create that Mystery Alaska like vibe where, you're in the mountains and you have a spectacle of, maybe 5 to 10,000 people, and it looks unbelievable on TV. And I don't know if you could charge a pay-per-view like event or something like that, where Netflix takes it and pays the NHL a ton of money like they did with the Jake Paul Tyson fight, or some of these games on Christmas for the NFL. But I just think making it a sanctioned, sacred event in a sacred area would be unbelievable. I mean, I just think there's cool ways to do it. We had mentioned on Missing Curfew, maybe doing it, in the Grand Canyon. I don't know if that's logistical or not, but I played in an outdoor game in Aspen like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And how cool that was, just being in the mountains and playing at elevation and being surrounded literally by the Rockies. Like that Lake Tahoe event I thought was really cool, and how it looked. Now, you do ultimately have to drive money towards the event. So you would have to figure out the way to, generate the most revenue for this event. But I just think something like that could be really cool, really interesting, and create that Mystery Alaska like vibe. Yeah, I'll play those Rangers. So the old fucking John Beebe, Stevie Weeks skate in the river. My God, what a movie that is. Skank Martin, Sarah Hines. She's fat or naked, boys. She was riding me like a little walrus. Blap, 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 laroo. Little walrus just flapping around. So, yeah, I just think that, there's different ways to create this game and do something different. We have the Heritage Classic. We have the Stadium Series. We have the Winter Classic. We have so many goddamn classics and fucking series that it's lost the luster for me. And I think the way to regain the steam is to put it in remote locations where hockey is at its purest, whether it's in the mountains, it's on a lake, it's somewhere cool that we can just, have a sick, nasty game. And Obi on Missing Curfew even mentioned Mount Rushmore. Imagine going bar north in warm-ups, right up against Mount Rushmore, and just hitting Abe Lincoln, honest Abe, right in the chin with some rubber. No Diddy. That would be hilarious. Like you go on Bar North and all of a sudden it lands on top of George Sossington's head. Like that would be nasty. I just think like there's cool ways to kind of promote this game, make it a spectacle, make it a scene, make it something that no one else in the entire sports world does, and that we could do on ice. I just think there's so many things that would be nasty. I mean, there's been a game on a cruise ship, a naval cruise ship before, a basketball game, a college basketball game that comes to mind. I just think, oh, I don't know if you could do a game outdoors by the Eiffel Tower. That would be sick. I don't know if there's any way you could do a game, on Ellis Island, or I don't know. I'm just fucking throwing random shit and out there to see if it sticks. But there's just way cooler ideas, and I think it's time the NHL considers that. And you know what? It draws more eyes to our game, the beautiful game, and just creates some way to make this cool again. So, Gary, fuck me, buddy. 200 ODR games. It's time to move on. Let's go back to the drawing board. And you know what? Let's get creative. Call the peoples if you need me. So, moving on, folks, to, well, staying in Chicago, staying with the Blackhawks a little bit. Jonathan Toews earlier in the week came out with an article in GQ stating what he's kind of been going through with his health issues and different things that have kind of led to the point of, what, he had to step away from the game. And he's been out of hockey for 2 years now, almost 3. And Jonathan Toews has done everything from an ayahuasca reset or 2 in Costa Rica. He's gone over to India and got a full body release in terms of a tug, done some meditation, and just really flushing things out of his system that, didn't serve him per se, if you will, as well as attending Burning Man to really reset the screws and, take one deep. But by all accounts, Jonathan Toews says he's feeling better, folks. And you know what? He is eyeing or vying a return to the National Hockey League, pending training, skating, wrapping up his body, seeing how he feels, seeing how it reacts. But Jonathan Toews says in most recent years, this is his best he's ever felt. He's back on the ice skating. And you know what? He just feels that maybe he's not done yet. The 36-year-old from Winnipeg is starting to skate again. He's starting to train. So we'll see where this goes. I don't know if it's this year, next year. I don't know if he needs 1 or 2 more Burning Mans to kind of reset and think about this from a holistic side of things. But it sounds like Johnny Toews, by all accounts, folks, might be getting back on the sheet with a National Hockey League team if everything goes well. So a couple of clicks to Taser. I would love to see him come back. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how good he'd be, what he'd be able to contribute, but I do think there would be teams willing to take a flyer on the 3-time Stanley Cup champion and see what he has. And you know what? I don't know if it's going to be this year, like I said, or next year, but the North Dakota product is back on the ice skating. So we'll see where that goes. I'm fired up for Taser as a guy that, didn't end hockey on my own terms per se. I feel that from time to time. It's like, fuck, you'd like to go out on your own terms. Now, how many guys in the world are lucky enough to do that? Not a ton, folks. But you know what? Anytime I think you're that caliber of player, a former Conn Smythe winner, the old Smitty, someone will take a flyer on him if his body holds up and his mind does as well. So good luck to Johnny Toews, fella. Keep the ayahuasca high. Keep yourself high. So, folks, we're going to go to a little north of the border. We're going to go over to Ottawa. We're going to talk about the World Juniors. Now, listen, I'm not a big World Junior guy in preliminary play. I'm just not. I got a lot of stuff going on, usually hanging out with the family, and then New Year's hits, and it's like, holy fuck, okay, here are the juniors. But right now, in the knockout phase, is when I start getting into it. And the USA beat Swiss 7-2. They handled them. They beat Canada. That was a great win. I'm so happy for David Carl. That was unbelievable just to walk into Ottawa, get that done. Cole Hudson looked good. Cole Eiserman with that big goal, chirping Easton Cowan as he's coming down the old choo-choo train. So I love that. I love when the Americans are cocky. I love when they're skilled. And this is one of the most skilled teams in most recent years. They have a hell of a team. Now they're going to go into the semis and they're going to play, I believe, I don't know if they're going to play Czech or who they're going to play, but they're going to play a good team. So it'll be a test for them. But the Americans, by all accounts, look strong. They look willing and able to defend their title that they won last year in Sweden, beating Sweden in the gold medal game. That was an awesome game. Great tilt. So happy for DC. But yeah, The juniors on the Canadian side, now listen, not perfect. This Dave Cameron guy is 66 years old. Like, fella, you're on hole 17 or 18 at this point. Just fucking, everyone, just fucking retire and get somewhere. I mean, if you can't afford it, like, get somewhere south. Go to Florida. Come to AZ. Get to a wet deck. Start hiking a little bit. Get your base tan going. Why do you want to coach hockey and the World Juniors? I mean, the World Juniors is the World Juniors, but you're coaching, the Ottawa 67s. It's like, buddy, like, what are we doing? And if you're Hockey Canada, what are you doing hiring this guy? He doesn't know how to relate to this day's youth. He doesn't know what makes these kids tick. As much as he's tried to change, he's stuck in 1987, 1994, 2002 at best. Like, how do the Canadians not realize they need a guy like David Carl? They need a guy that's young, hungry, young, dumb, full of cum, not dumb, but just the other things and the other components that really relate to these kids. How do they not have, someone at Hockey Canada that is their go-to guy for World Juniors? I think in terms of what the U.S. program does for the juniors is unbelievable. These kids on the U.S. side all come up together, 80 odd percent, maybe 90% of them all end up playing the World Juniors. Now, listen, I'm not a big NTDP guy. I think they're a bunch of nut chuggers, but I do think that in terms of what this tournament creates for them, we do have the advantage. So how doesn't Hockey Canada not only have a program like that? It would be hard with the CHL and the agreement there, but I do think on the coaching side of things and the development side of things that they should meet with these kids once a summer and do a camp, whether it's the U17s, U18, and just do a camp with all of them together to kind of get them acclimated of the group that moving forward, they're going to see more often than not, and then have coaches and skills coaches and different levels of management around these kids to, again, create an environment of similar to the NTDP in Ann Arbor. It wouldn't be able to be the same thing just because of the CHL and different things like that. You wouldn't be able to have a team all year round. I get that. I get that on the Canadian side. But I do think with these coaches, how do you not have a better coach in line, a younger guy, a juggernaut? I don't know where he might be. He might be coaching in Kelowna. He might be coaching in London. Dale Hunter is a coach there, so maybe not. But, someone younger, someone just ready to relate to these kids and bring just what this day and age player needs. Dave Cameron canceled practice the other day because he said his kids were tired. It's like, fella, your team stinks right now. Maybe get on the ice and do 20 minutes of systems and a couple flow drills and get the hell out of there. We're not asking you to go and bag skate them, Dave. But come on, fella. So I just thought that coach wasn't the move. I mean, I don't know if we need to go full 1998 and play it back to rock'em sock'em hockey. But I do think Canada's missing a lot on their fourth line. I think they're missing a lot of identity. I think they're missing a lot of different things in terms of the intangibles of what makes Canadian hockey tough. It makes them feared. It makes them just the big bad bullies of the North. And they've lost that. They've lost that identity of having a mean fourth line, guys that are from Climax, Saskatchewan, guys that are from Brandon, Manitoba, guys that are willing to go in the corners and staple a guy's chin to the end wall like a homework packet. They've lost that. They don't have any of that. Now, listen, they were trying to play with a little bit more jam in that USA game because they were probably hearing all the outside noise of everyone calling them pussies in their own country. There is a ton of pressure for these kids. It is overhyped in Canada. It is way too horny. It is crazy. It is banana lands. It is all of that. But I do think Canada, when they were their best, they had those top six just absolutely insanely skilled players. They had some Swiss Army knives on their third line. And then the fourth line was a big centerman, a couple high-flying wingers like Jordan Tutu, Stéphane Delarivere, Patrice Cormier, some of these guys that are just nasty and willing to go out there and not take a 5-minute penalty and just, affect the game that way, but go out there and fucking run somebody. And that's exactly when Canadian hockey was at its best. It was high flying. It was highly skilled. It was in your face. It was guys just burying guys from other countries. And a team like Czechia or a team like Sweden or Finland was legitimately scared for their lives to play Canada. And that's where they had the edge. And now I think that the skill levels from every other country have equaled out, or the playing field is now further along closed. The gap has closed. I don't know. USA, though, holy fuck, David Carl, Someone get this guy in the NHL. Unbelievable coach. So we'll see where that goes, folks. Again, this will drop on Saturday, probably right in time for, I think, the semifinals. So stay tuned on that. The juniors, Elias Pettersson, JT Miller. I mean, this drama, when does it end? And who do you trade? Do you trade JT? Do you trade Petey? What do you do in this soap opera? I mean, it's not perfect up in Vancouver. These guys clearly don't like each other. Now the media's got a hold of it, and the Vancouver media is brutal. These guys will just chew you up, spit you out for everything you have. And they'll continually ask you every day. Rick Tockett's fed up with it. Quinn Hughes is fed up with it. You can see it spilled into that locker room to the point of they got to get rid of one of these guys, if not both. So if you're Patty Alvine and you're Jimmy Rutherford, who the fuck do you trade? There's more value probably coming back for JT Miller at this point than Elias Pettersson at 11 million, 11 and a hook times 8 years. A guy that puts on the cloak a lot of the times, a guy that, when pressure hits, he curls into a ball. When pressure hits JT Miller, his balls get bigger. So what do you do if you're in this situation? I mean, I think you could probably trade Pettersson and find him a counterpart willing to take him on. But at the same time, JT Miller, where does he go? I think you got to be shopping them both. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these guys is moved before the Four Nations. JT Miller, a hell of a player, but you can tell he's a hard-headed fella. A guy I played with all the way growing up on AAA teams, Watson Skate Company. Then we had the Wild Boars. Then we had the Bauer Selects. And then we played together at the U.S. program a little bit. He's a guy that is old school, in your face, right on your chin. And you know what? He's going to apply that pressure. And if he sees weakness, he might go right back at you. He's one of those guys that if he motherfucks you, he wants you to motherfuck him back because that's how you get his respect. It's very old school from the East Palestine native of Ohio. Yes, Palestine is the name of it, I believe. JT Miller, you know what? He's gone at this kid for years, and I'm sure P just curls up into the ball, a little vanilla, a little Swedish, and you know what? Just a little fucking soft. So it's tough because you got a nail gun in one end, and then you got a pussy on the other. Let's call a spade a spade. The guy, Pettersson, if he's going to be at his best, he needs to be coddled. He needs to be told how good he is. He needs to be told he's the best player in the room. He needs to be told that the key to the city is his and it's nobody else. And when JT Miller calls him out on his bullshit for disappearing for 4 or 5 games, you know what? He takes that as negative. He takes that as a personal attack. And when you take things on a professional level personally, it is never good. I'm sure JT Miller, it is now leaked to the point where he's just like, you know what? I tried to help this kid, but he is just so goddamn soft. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do this kid, and it's pissing me off. So I'm going at him even harder. No diddy. So we'll see what happens on this front, folks. I don't know. I mean, JT Miller and Pettersson clearly don't see eye to eye. And I think it's one of those situations where JT is probably a little bit hard on him, but it's coming deep down from a spot of he wants his team to win. And if you go back to the Jordan era of the Bulls, the dynasty era of that team, and you watch that, Last Dance documentary, all those guys say Jordan was a dick. You know why? Because he wanted them to win. And did they win? Absolutely. And that's sometimes what winning takes. Winning comes with expenses. Winning comes with sacrifices. Winning comes with a price. And sometimes the price is friction. And if you can't handle fucking friction in this day, well, you know what? You're fucking soft. And it's sadly, that is what it's come to a lot of point with a decent amount of these athletes. And I think you have to be smart with it. I think you got to realize if you're sitting back there holding all the cards in Patty Alvine and Jimmy Rutherford, you can't just make a deal just to make a deal. It's got to make sense for the hockey club. And if this relationship truly can't be amended or put back together, well, fuck it. You got to move one of them, and whoever you get the best return for, I think you personally move. Personally, I would move Pettersson any day of the week, twice on Sundays. Look, you're going to tell me JT Miller's older, his contract's expiring quicker. I just think you need a dog like that. And if you get rid of him, well, I don't know. I think the locker room is just even more vanilla and further along from winning in Vancouver than you were if you were to keep JT Miller. So we'll see on that front, folks. Austin Matthews is going to miss his 6th or 7th straight game, folks. 34 cars battling what we'll call a middle body injury. I'm not going to get into too many specifics of that or speculate, but hoping for the best for A. Mats as he is, battling a injury or some sort of contusion that is keeping him out for a while. And he doesn't know if it's going to get any better throughout the year. That's what he told the old TSN nut chuggers up there, the super fans, the nerds in Toronto. So hopefully AM34 can get better, get back on the sheet, because at this point, he's probably going to be out of the Four Nations, which sucks for USA, but again, opens up another spot. So we'll see maybe who takes that spot to come. Folks, I just want to do a little update for you. And lastly, what I will be doing for this show is just providing some insight of what every day of the week looks like when you're going out. Now, I threw this tweet out probably about 8 months ago, just kind of explain to the people what every day is for the drinking community and how it relates. People have always asked me, hey, Swish, what's Monday? What's Tuesday? Oh, I'm going to go out on a Wednesday. What do you call that? Oh, Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What are those days? And how do they relate to the work week and drinking? So this week's People's Insider term of the week is what night of the week is what. And I am going to lead it off with, the bar nights in order. So this week's People's Insider term of the week is the bar nights in order. Monday nights, folks, listen, it is professionals night. If you're on the piss the day immediately after the weekend shift ends, you're a goddamn professional in every sense of the word. I mean, if you need a stiff one on a goddamn Monday after you fully had 3 days to fucking get after it, well, you, my friend, number one, need to be sent to Malibu. 2, you're a goddamn professional. And 3, maybe all of the above. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, some of my favorite sneakiest nights of the week, are industry night. So your best chance to find a girl with a dragon sleeve tattoo and a couple piercings that don't appear at surface level. Now, maybe she's got that old buttocks piercing. Maybe she's got one on her, downstairs. Maybe she's got them on her front porch. But piercings and tattoos on Tuesdays and Wednesdays are some of the easiest nights to go out and find those and suck on something maybe you haven't before. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays are industry night. It's usually the nights of the week that people that work at bottle service clubs, that work at bars, they get off. It is their Friday and Saturday, and it's a good chance to meet someone that not only can suck a golf ball out of a garden hose, but can make you a nice skinny margarita, can pour you a bottle of 1942 Don Julio with a sparkler on it that's going to cost you somewhere over $1,000. And by the time you tip her out because you think you're going to go home with her, you're at $5,000 and you can't afford anything but government cheese for the next 4 months. So that's Tuesday and Wednesdays. Thursdays, my favorite night of the week, folks, and you know that by now. That is ladies' night. And nothing beats ladies' night. It's Bachelorette Central in destination cities, and it's usually the best mix of classy, bougie, and ratchet thrown into a blender all at once. I mean, we're talking bachelorette parties that sit down at a nice little venue or establishment, and then they take it to the next bar, and oh my God, they're twerking upside down, face down, ass up. And by the time they get to the club or the next bar, oh my God, people and women have their wedding rings off. They're looking to do a little bit of cheating, and the next thing you know, you and your buddies are playing late night on a twister board, coming back to your Airbnb on a party bus with 12 gals from Sarasota, Florida. So that is my favorite night of the week. It is sneaky the best night of the week. It's not even sneaky. It is the best night of the week. It's my personal favorite. Ladies' night, you can always mix it up. It's the night before the weekend. Everyone's got that great buzz because by the time all those trips kind of get going, they fade. Friday, they're struggling a little bit waking up. They're not looking as hot. There's more wrinkles. Saturday's an absolute just muck fest. Every girl for each other, every man for man. But Thursday, before everything heats up, you fly in is generally the travel day to kind of just, get into the city and start buzzing again. And they see each other, the excitement, the horniness. It's all at the highest it's going to be for the weekend. So the best night of the week is Thursday. And I will always go on record saying that. So if you're out, if you're thinking about going out, if you're thinking about slipping into one, especially in a destination city, Thursdays, my God, the best time of the week. Literally, I'm telling you, it's the night, it's travel night. So all the trips, they fly in on Thursday. They took a half day at work. They look the hottest because, you know what, they're not going to wear their number one outfit, but just the aura in their face and the excitement, they're glowing. They're ready to go. And they're going to actually overshoot it, every time because they're so excited to be back. That's a pro tip right there. Fridays and Saturdays, folks, are amateur nights. Again, anyone can throw on the weekend. I still respect the hell out of all the weekend warriors, but it's pretty stock. It's pretty generic. It's the Costco nights of the week. Buy in bulk. Everyone's overserved to the max. Everyone's out. Anyone go out on a Friday or Saturday. Like, get bent. Like, listen, I'm not opposed to a Friday or Saturday. I love Fridays and Saturdays, but anyone can do it. Anyone that's not a professional, that doesn't know about ladies' night, that's never thrown on an industry night, you can all do it. It's easy. Everyone's going to be out. It's amateur nights. So, listen, nothing against Fridays and Saturdays, but it's the easiest nights of the week to go out and throw. Now, Sunday, my sneaky second favorite day of the week, and that is Veterans Day. I mean, is there anything better than a Sunday matinee, bellied up at a bar, watching football, roasting farts, not being able to trust a fart because you've drank the previous 2 days, maybe even 3, eating queso, eating fried food? It's just one of the best times to sit outside, especially in Phoenix, and watch TV, drink craft beer, drink light beer, drink whatever you want, 7 and 7s, tequila. It's all the piss tanks that avoid Friday and Saturday nights out to have that matinee shift during the day. They still get their 10 to 12 hour shift, but it's consumed between the hours of 10 a.m. right on your jaw to 8 p.m. and into the wee hours of the night. Such a cagey veteran move that proves you have outsmarted the game. Good night's rest, yet still had an honest effort. Like, there's nothing better than starting right in the morning at a brunch. Like, it's mimosas, doses and mimosas, champagne and cocaine, Bloody Marys, and you just start flooring it. You have that whatever all-American classic breakfast, and that takes you fucking right in to the next bar, like a Twin Peaks or a Hooters, and you're sitting outside and you're just funneling maybe some wings, 10 to 12 beers, and then you take it to the next spot, or maybe you just belly up to that spot the whole day because the vibes are immaculate and you never leave a good time for a good time. Sundays are literally some of the best days to get absolutely shit-faced and in bed at a decent hour. There's nothing better than starting at 10 a.m. and being in bed at 8 p.m., ready and all tucked in for the Sunday nighter, and you fall asleep to Chris Collinsworth's voice. Now, here's a guy. Now listen. Now, here's a guy. And Mike Tirico just whispering sweet, sweet nothings coming across your Vizio TV. Like, there's nothing better than a Sunday shift with the fellas. You get in at a decent hour. You drink still for 10 hours. You don't have to be out till 2 in the morning. It's just unbelievable. The sun goes down and you go home. And you're drunk as hell, and you might be a little high, but you just had just as much fun. And then the next day, you don't wake up with as many cobwebs. It truly is Veterans Day and the best day, I guess, of the week to floor it. So Thursdays and Sundays, my personal favorites. Folks, again, I hope that helps. I rambled on for about an hour here. That was Live in 5, Solo Swishy, episode number 69. We're talking missionary. We're talking me on top of you, on top of her. Always brought to you by Butter Golf, Mini Movers, Gladiator Therapeutics. Folks, again, we'll be back next week to the regular scheduled programming with Ozzo, but I just want to get this out for you. I love you out there. Live in 5. The show goes on, baby. Low and slow, chins tucked, fucking hard, throwing both, swishy out. Woo!
I can hear them perks coming. I can hear the words coming. I can hear the streets coming.